I'm here, and we're here to pull the plug on Grassley. Yes. That's what we're going to do in November 2010. And you know, it's a wonderful thing that he said that. He said, pull the plug on Granny. Remember when the Health Care Today was on? And about August 14th of 2009, and that is stuck in the national public conscience ever since. Even President Obama uses it as a phrase to reference the chicanery and just the all-in-out craziness of the Republican Party, and it came from Charles Grassley's lips. And I think that's something that makes this an incredibly good election to take out somebody that's been in office for 52 years. We have to look at Daily Kos, which is a kind of a blog. I don't know how many of you look at it. But they had a poll that they commissioned with Research 2000, and they took that little phrase, and they asked Iowans all over the state in a survey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that phrase? Are you embarrassed by what was said? And the majority of Iowans polled, bipartisan poll, said yes, they were embarrassed, and yes, they were embarrassed enough to think about getting rid of Grassley. That is the first solid Achilles heel we've gotten on this fella, and you will hear a lot about the pull the plug on Grassley phrase, no matter where you are in the year 2010. And what's going to happen after this primary is no matter who is elected, there's going to be a lot of money in this race. And the reason there's going to be a lot of money is that we have found the Achilles heel, and this guy's time is right to be retired. No, yes. And I look at Senator Grassley as a veteran, and I look at what I would call a target-rich environment. The reason I got interested in running was through my work with the Iowa Democratic Veterans Caucus. And a friend told me, you ought to look at Grassley's record, it's terrible. And that surprised me. And I found out that he had a 62% negative voting record on disabled Americans' votes on health care. And that's from a guy that has co-signed for nearly his entire career the constitutional amendment, the proposed constitutional amendment to ban the burning of the American flag, which I know is a huge problem up here in northeast Iowa. You know, the kids on a Saturday night, probably down Dyersville, you know. But and you got to forgive those kids, you know. But anyhow, so he's up, you know, he's up in arms about this, and he is burning the American veteran that puts that flag up the flagpole. In 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, he was chair of the Senate Finance Committee. He single-handedly capped veterans' health care funding when we had thousands and thousands and thousands of veterans coming back with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, amputations, all kinds of internal injuries, and he was capping the funding. How many of you guys and ladies served during Vietnam or that era? There's a few of you out there. And how many of you know that you probably got your health care benefits cut off because of Senator Charles Grassley? Yeah, a few of you do. And that's just what happened to these guys. Many of you are old enough or remember from talking to people about Vietnam, the tough things those veterans went through. And then Senator Grassley, because he put the cap on, although it was done by the Bush administration, it was done because of Senator Grassley's actions. And they put the Vietnam veterans that weren't totally indigent, totally outside the health care system. It's a tragedy. But that's not the only tragedy we're looking at that was done by Senator Charles Grassley. I worked this area for the Department of Transportation. I was a planner. I did the one-way couplet down in Clinton on Highway 30. I used to work with Donna Smith and a few of the other people on Highway 20, and the Julian Dubuque Bridge, and the Southwest Arterial, and about a billion other little projects. Got up around, where's another one? Buchanan, we did some studies on 150. There were a lot of studies, let me say that. But what you see here in Iowa is I was driving around, and I saw, the biggest one I saw was in Dyersville, but there were many others, and you know about them, and that's factories closing down and the jobs moving to Mexico, China, Asia. There's a fellow by the name of Nouriel Roubini, and I know that sounds like a strange name, but if you Googled him, you'd find out that he was the first guy to predict the big crash we had. Everybody laughed at him, but they don't laugh anymore. He predicts that in the next 10 years, 25%, 1 in every 4, of American jobs yet existing will be outsourced overseas. 1 in every 4. That's on top of the 17 million jobs we've already lost. It's 34.5 million jobs, 300,000 jobs a month going out the door. What we have is when NAFTA was developed, the North American Free Trade Agreement, the World Trade Agreement, our World Trade Organization agreements, they were developed by people that thought the American worker was making too much money. And they thought that the best way to get around that and get less paid to the American worker was lower the price. I just, about a week ago, I was up in Lake Mills, Iowa. They're closing a plant up there, and 400 jobs. They're taking them down to Mexico. The people up there, it's a non-union plant. They make $14 an hour. The people down in Mexico will make $1.50 an hour. And that is where the race to the bottom is going. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are serious about saving the middle class, now is the time. H. Ross Perot, about 15 years ago or so, said, look at that giant sucking sound. Well, he had giant ears, if you remember, and so he probably heard about it before we did. But it's out there, and it's there now. And we need to take it seriously. And there's ways that we can do it without upsetting the international apple cart by looking at sectors of our economy where it makes an incredible amount of sense to bring them back, not only because we need those jobs in America, but because we can do things that fit the democratic agenda. Global warming is one. We send a lot of stuff overseas. They use techniques that make more greenhouse gases than the United States. We need to bring that kind of job back and do something about global warming. Global. Worker safety, same kind of thing. A lot of that stuff that goes overseas comes back with blood on it. Comes back with blood because they do not have worker safety regulations. If they don't have worker safety regulations, we need to have it over here. National defense, same kind of thing. We've got a situation where the Chinese manufacturers of computer chips have been found putting electronic trapdoors on those computer chips, and then they've been selling them to American defense manufacturers. And we're getting fire direction control centers, making battle tanks, military avionics with elements so that they can be sabotaged. It's real serious stuff. We need to look at these sectors. We need to draw those jobs back into America because they were the bedrock of this area. How many of you are from small towns or farms? Yeah, a big chunk up here in northwest Iowa, or northeast Iowa, pardon me, wrong corner. If you'll remember how your farmers operated a few years ago, they would work the fields and then they would have that job in town at a factory. And those two jobs together was what kept that small farm going. When we lost the manufacturing, we lost those farmers. So we need to get that back. Another thing I'd like to talk about is, and I got 1 minute, so I'll be precise, Afghanistan. We need to get out of Afghanistan. We need to get out of Afghanistan real soon. Yeah! Yes. Yes. As a military veteran, 28 years experience, you look at it, what we're doing is we're going into a strategically untenable area. It's costing us $172 billion a year, B with a B, for something that is probably not sustainable in the long run and actually decreases our ability to have a full-scale national defense. We need to take that $172 billion, we need to bring it over here, and we need to fund the second stimulus package to take care of the teachers that are being laid off, to take care of our infrastructure needs, and to get people working and get that money circulating again. That's what we need to do with our national defense in Afghanistan. I'm out of time, but I thank you very much. I want your support, and I need your support in June 8th, so please vote for me. And if you have any questions, check my website, but I love you. Thank you so much.